lots of questions and comments around COVID-19 and vulnerable populations from the north to internet access and broadband access for rural communities, questions about what young people can do, questions around what they can tell their friends who are doing well or not doing well, conversations about mental health as well, because obviously this is a moment of anxiety and stress for so many people. This was a great conversation, like so many of the great conversations being had amongst Canadians across the country. Our young people specifically, we've been counting on them over the past years to continue to step up in the fight against climate change, in the fight against poverty, in supporting a better world internationally and at home. And we continue to need young people to be that vehicle for building a better future and sharing messages. Obviously, young people, like every generation, are chafing at the bit in terms of having to be self-isolated, particularly at a time when we tell our young people at an age where we say, now is the time to go out and discover the world, whether it's with a backpack or in a laboratory. Make new discoveries, challenge yourselves, challenge the world. And they're looking at their plans for the spring and their summer jobs, and they're realizing that there is a massive anxiety and a massive uncertainty out there. But that doesn't mean we're powerless. Doesn't mean they're powerless. On the contrary, this generation of young people is so committed and engaged to creating a better world that we need you to keep leading the way you are. We need you to share your messages with friends. We need you to lead by example. We need you to be challenging and discovering the world in virtual ways. There are ways that you can continue to shape the future we all live in every single day, not just with your choices, but with your leadership. And that's what we need. On a besoin que nos jeunes continuent de mettre au défi ce monde, de continuer de pousser ce qui est possible, de continuer à vouloir être ces leaders dont on a besoin. Et pendant ces moments de crise, on en a encore plus besoin. Alors, je compte sur vous, mais je sais que notre présent et notre avenir est toujours entre très bonnes mains avec nos jeunes. On va aussi être là pour vous. En tant que jeunes, il y en a beaucoup d'entre vous qui vont qualifier pour l'allocation canadienne, la prestation canadienne d'urgence. Il y en a d'autres qui vont être appuyés dans vos travaux, dans votre travail à temps partiel par les entreprises à cause de l'aide qu'on donne aux petites entreprises, petites et moyennes entreprises. Mais on va continuer de chercher des façons à s'assurer que vous aviez confiance, pas juste dans le présent, mais dans l'avenir aussi. We have taken significant measures to help people. Yes, young people who will, many of them qualify for the CERB and be helped through the payroll subsidy that the wage subsidy we're creating for businesses and bringing up to 75%. But there's always going to be more to do, and we're going to keep listening and looking how we can make sure that Canadians get through this in the best possible way by supporting them now and ensuring that we can roar back stronger once this is all done. That's why we put forward big measures to help businesses over the past few days. Increasing the wage subsidy to 75% means businesses across the country are now realizing they're going to be able to keep people on their payroll, keep that relationship going between them and their workers, and even rehire people who they didn't think they'd be able to support over the past 2 weeks. We know that what we do now to hold things together, to give people the ability to stay home, to isolate, to hold through this difficult time is key to how we will come back stronger afterwards. But we need to stick together and we need to do it. On a besoin de regarder tout ce qu'on peut faire, tous et chacun, pour passer à travers de ces moments. C'est pour ça qu'on a donné de l'aide aux petites et moyennes entreprises, qu'on est en train de faciliter l'accès au crédit aussi. La liquidité va être extrêmement importante pour les gens ces jours-ci, de pouvoir prendre des emprunts pour emprunter. Par exemple, on rend disponible 40 000 $ par les banques, aucun intérêt pour la première année et vous n'aurez pas à repayer 10 000 de ça si les conditions sont remplies, si ça va bien dans les années à venir. Nous allons travailler ensemble pour s'assurer qu'on a la capacité de passer à travers tout ça. Notre plan de 107 milliards de dollars a été passé au Parlement. On a pu commencer vraiment à livrer cette aide aux Canadiens. On sait que les gens sont impatients que ça arrive chez eux. On est en train de travailler de toutes nos forces pour pouvoir livrer pour les Canadiens rapidement dans ces situations sans précédent. Mais c'est exactement ce que nous allons faire ensemble. La prestation canadienne d'urgence va vous offrir 2 000 $ à tous les mois pour les 4 prochains mois. Et donc, je vous invite à vous inscrire à l'avance sur mon dossier, sur le site de l'Agence Revenu du Canada, pour que vous puissiez présenter une demande dès que le portail sera lancé dans les prochains jours. Et si vous pouvez, inscrivez-vous au dépôt direct pour que l'argent soit versé directement dans votre compte. The Canada Emergency Response Benefit will give people $2,000 every month for the next 4 months to help get us through this time. I know an awful lot of people have showed interest in it already. My recommendation to you is to go on the Canada Revenue Agency site and sign up in advance through the My Account links. Once you do that, in the coming days, when we're able to start actually opening applications, you'll have a head start. And if you can, please opt for the direct deposit option, which will let you get this money into your bank accounts sooner and is simpler for everyone as well. There are lots of things that we're doing to make sure that we get through this together. But everything we do, we need to do together. Every single individual, every single household has its role to play in making sure that Canada and Canadians do well through this. We also have a role to play in making sure that the world gets through this, both by modeling solutions and demonstrating what can be done when we all work together. This is going to be key, particularly as parts of the world that are much more vulnerable are beginning to get harder hit. We need to be able to get through this so we can help rebuild a world in which people can prosper and everyone has a real and fair chance to succeed. I know Canadians are up to this challenge. I know we're going to do this together. J'ai énormément confiance dans les Canadiens, dans notre capacité de passer au travers, parce qu'on fait ce qu'on fera toujours dans des moments de difficulté. On sera là les uns pour les autres. Merci beaucoup tout le monde et bon samedi.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Premier ministre. On va maintenant passer à la période de questions en commençant par le téléphone. 4 questions avec suivi. Modérateur, c'est à vous.
Merci, thank you. La première question est de Michel Lamarche de TVA Nouvelle. La parole est maintenant à vous.
Oui, bonjour, Monsieur Trudeau. J'aimerais d'abord vous entendre sur ces nouvelles règles qui vont entrer en vigueur par Transport Canada aujourd'hui. Est-ce que ça vous fait réfléchir à la possibilité de fermer les frontières interprovinciales également, ou vous n'en êtes pas là du tout au moment où on se parle?
On reconnaît que énormément de Canadiens se sont isolés déjà. Déjà ont changé leur comportement, ne voyagent plus et il va falloir qu'on continue de faire cela. On reconnaît en même temps qu'il y a des gens qui ont besoin de voyager pour livrer de la marchandise essentielle, pour livrer de la nourriture. Et donc, on ne voudrait pas prendre des étapes et franchir des étapes qu'on n'a pas absolument besoin de faire. Mais comme j'ai dit, nous allons toujours regarder ce qui est nécessaire à faire et nous allons prendre les mesures nécessaires au bon moment s'il s'avère nécessaire. Mais pour l'instant, ce n'est pas quelque chose qu'on planifie de faire dans le court terme. Obviously,
un peu plus tôt.
Obviously, people across the country have been doing an excellent job of staying home, of not traveling for anything that's not absolutely necessary, and we encourage people to continue to do that. However, there is essential transport and travel that is happening as merchandise, as food gets delivered across the country. We need to continue to ensure that that's happening. Every step of the way, we're going to look at whether we need to take further measures to keep Canadians safe and to keep our economy rolling on essential goods. We will make those decisions as they are needed to be made, but right now we're not looking at closing provincial borders.
Suivi, Michel?
Il y a des snowbirds qui reviennent présentement aujourd'hui. Là, on les voit notamment à l'école et la SQ est là pour les sensibiliser, pour leur dire de respecter la quarantaine. Mais il y a beaucoup de confusion autour des sorties des voyageurs qui reviennent. Peuvent-ils, oui ou non, M. Trudeau, lorsqu'ils arrivent au pays, aller se promener ou encore faire des balades à vélo? Selon la loi sur la quarantaine, qu'est-ce qui s'applique?
La loi sur la quarantaine dit que les gens doivent s'isoler s'ils reviennent de voyage. C'est extrêmement important. Nous avons besoin que les gens qui auraient pu être exposés outre-mer ne passent ou dans d'autres pays ne passent pas cette possibilité de COVID-19 au reste de la population qui est en train de se protéger. Et je recommande à tout le monde de suivre les règles et les conseils établis par Santé Canada et nos agences de santé.
Merci. Prochaine question.
Merci. La prochaine question est de Mélanie Marquis, La Presse. Votre ligne est ouverte. À vous la parole.
Merci. Bonjour, M. Trudeau. Pourquoi est-ce que les autobus qui, elles aussi font des trajets interprovinciaux ne sont pas compris dans les mesures que vous annoncez?
Les mesures de Transport Canada s'appliquent aux industries qui sont sous la gouverne fédérale. Effectivement, il y a des industries qui ne sont pas sous la gouverne fédérale, mais on recommande et on met des règles en place pour que les gens ne prennent pas des voyages s'ils ont des symptômes de la COVID-19. Évidemment, si les gens ont des symptômes de COVID-19, on leur demande de rester à la maison, mais maintenant, ils n'auront pas même la possibilité de prendre un avion ou un train. Okay. We recognize, and we've told people who have symptoms that they need to self-isolate, they need to stay home, they should not travel. Now there will be Transport Canada rules coming into place that will prevent anyone indicating symptoms to travel by airline or by train.
Suivi, Mélanie?
Sur un autre sujet, oui, merci. Sur un autre sujet, M. Trudeau, concernant la frontière canado-américaine, on apprend que les États-Unis renvoient certains des migrants réguliers dans leur pays natal, nonobstant les risques qu'eux peuvent courir là-bas de persécution, de torture. Qu'est-ce que vous pensez de ça? Qu'allez-vous faire pour régler cette situation?
On est dans une situation sans précédent dans l'histoire de notre pays, peut-être dans l'histoire du monde. Et notre capacité de répondre pour protéger les Canadiens, pour empêcher la propagation de ce virus sont par définition des mesures exceptionnelles. Nous allons tout faire pour être fidèles à nos valeurs, à nos approches, mais nous devons protéger les Canadiens pendant cette période difficile et c'est exactement ce que nous allons faire.
Prochaine question.
Merci, thank you. The next question is from Rod Nickel from Reuters. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Premier Kenney said yesterday that he'd like to see a coordinated North America response to OPEC's actions to flood the world with oil. He suggested ideas like tariffs on Saudi oil and an anti-dumping case. Do you support these ideas, and do you support the more aggressive approach to OPEC's actions recently?
Obviously, we are very concerned with OPEC's decisions that are putting at risk the livelihoods of people around the world, particularly Canadians who work in the oil and gas sector. We are focused on helping those Canadians, helping people who are hardest hit by economically by COVID-19. The measures we've put in place will support Canadians right across the country, including in our oil and gas sector, but we also know it's a sector that has been particularly hard hit, and we will look for further help to be able to support people as they get through. In terms of international collaboration, coordination, we continue to be part of conversations on this issue around the world.
Would you look at a more aggressive approach to Saudi Arabia?
I think this is a moment that we need to focus on getting through COVID-19 as best we possibly can. I think there will be a lot of reflections on how various countries behaved in this particular moment. Our focus right now is on making sure we can support our citizens and stabilize the global economy the best way we can, which we are doing through our membership in the G7, in the G20, in various international fora and approaches that we have, while at the same time focusing on making sure we're supporting Canadians and keeping them safe.
Merci. Dernière question avec suivi au téléphone.
Merci, thank you. The next question is from Teresa Wright from the Canadian Press. Your line is now open. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Prime Minister. On the cruise ship anchored off the coast of Panama, what actions are being considered or will be taken to help the 248 Canadians aboard?
We have worked directly and contacted directly the Panamanian government to try and get an ability to bring those Canadians home. We know this is a very difficult situation for them, for their families. A lot of people around the world are worried about being able to get home. A lot of their family members here are feeling anxious and really want to see them brought home. I can tell you that the entirety of Global Affairs Canada employees are single-mindedly focused on this Herculean task of bringing Canadians home any way we can. And much of it involves negotiating with other countries to get permissions to cruise ships to dock, permissions for airplanes to lift off from their country where they've closed airspaces. We're going to continue to work diligently to do everything we can to get all Canadians home and provide significant consular support both in the meantime and to those people who are unable to get home.
Louis Blouin de Radio-Canada. Monsieur Trudeau, est-ce que vous pouvez être plus précis un peu dans la mécanique pour ces nouvelles mesures annoncées pour les vols, pour les trajets en train? Qui va être chargé d'appliquer ça? Est-ce que c'est le personnel des entreprises aériennes, par exemple? Parce qu'on a vu que pour les vols internationaux, il y a des gens qui sont montés à bord des avions pareils, même s'ils présentaient des symptômes, etc. Alors, comment vous pouvez être sûr que ça va être mis en application correctement?
On s'attend à ce que ces règles soient suivies. Oui, ça va être la responsabilité des compagnies de s'assurer que des gens qui montrent des symptômes de COVID-19 n'embarquent pas dans l'avion, dans le train. Nous savons que c'est essentiel que les gens évitent les déplacements non nécessaires et que toute personne qui a des symptômes de COVID-19 s'isole, reste à la maison.
En anglais, s'il vous plaît.
We know that it is extremely important that people be following the rules. It will be important for operators of airlines and trains to ensure that people who are exhibiting symptoms do not board those trains. It'll be a Transport Canada rule that will be enforced. But at the same time, we're telling people, stay home if it's not absolutely essential for you to travel. Stay home, absolutely, if you're exhibiting any symptoms of COVID-19, of a flu-like virus. We need you to keep yourselves safe. We need you to keep your loved ones and your neighbors safe. And we need you to keep from overburdening and endangering the safety of our healthcare workers and others who are doing so much to keep us safe as a country.
Sur l'aide aux provinces, M. Trudeau, vous avez déjà fait une première phase, 500 millions pour les besoins en santé. Il y a des provinces actuellement qui ont de grandes difficultés. Je pense à Terre-Neuve-Labrador, entre autres. Je pense à l'Alberta aussi. Est-ce qu'il y a une deuxième phase d'aide qui s'en vient pour ces provinces-là qui sont dans une situation très, très précaire actuellement?
On est dans une situation sans précédent. On a besoin d'être là les uns pour les autres. Le gouvernement fédéral va chercher à aider toutes les provinces, tous les individus, toutes les entreprises qui font face à des difficultés à cause de la COVID-19. On continue à regarder au jour le jour qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire de plus, qu'est-ce qu'on doit faire de plus, comment on peut en faire plus. On va continuer de travailler main dans la main avec les premiers ministres des provinces, avec les autres leaders à travers du pays pour s'assurer qu'on donne l'aide nécessaire à tout le monde.
In English, please.
We recognize this is a situation without precedent, a situation that is beyond our collective and individual experience, and that's why we've made the commitment to help people who need help getting through this time, whether it's an individual, a family, a business, or indeed a province. And we continue to work every day to look at ways that we can help, look at how we can help, look at what we can do to help. Those conversations will continue to be ongoing for individuals, sectors, or indeed provinces that are facing particular difficulties.
Marika Walsh with the Globe and Mail. I want to revisit the energy sector question. Earlier this week, Finance Minister Bill Morneau said it was hours or days until the energy sector would find out what specifically the government would do. So when are they going to get the answers that they need?
We're continuing to work to try and provide workers in the energy sectors with the support that they need. We recognize that the collapse of oil prices around the world is hitting hard. People who've been extremely hard hit over the past years already. That is why we need to get this right. And we're working with provinces, we're working with industry, we're working with various sectors, including unions and others, to try and make sure that on top of the help we're already giving of $2,000 a month to people who are laid off, 75% wage subsidy so companies can keep people on the payroll, we're going to continue to make sure that once we are through this difficult time, people in industries and places right across the country are going to be able to pick themselves up and get back to work and have our economy continue to work strongly like it was before. It's going to take a lot of effort in the meantime, and it's going to take us doing different things and trying different things. But we are going to keep working until we manage to help everyone.
Hi, Ashley Burke, CBC News. As you mentioned at the top of your speech, you said that there have been encouraging signs out of British Columbia. Are you worried at all that Canadians will hear about those encouraging signs and become complacent?
I think encouraging signs is absolutely something we want to see. We want to see a decline in the rate of transmission, but people need to know that the decline in the rate of transmission happened because 2 weeks ago, people started heeding these instructions and started self-isolating and started engaging in social distancing. And over the intervening weeks, people have increased their following of advice, and that is an excellent sign. But if we're seeing a reduction in the spikes, that means what we are doing is working, and we therefore need to continue doing what we are doing. We are not out of the woods yet. Obviously, if the measures we're doing are working, we need to continue doing them, and that's why as a government we're making sure that people are able to continue doing what they're doing by flowing money to households, by supporting businesses with a 75% wage subsidy, by making access to credit that much easier. We're going to continue to do more things as we look at ways to help Canadians get through this so we can come out of this strong without a reappearance or resurgence of the virus afterwards. Si on commence à voir des résultats positifs en quelques endroits, c'est parce qu'il y a 2 semaines, les gens ont commencé à suivre les conseils donnés par Santé Canada de s'isoler, d'empêcher que le virus se propage. Alors, ça veut dire que les mesures qu'on est en train de faire sont en train de fonctionner et donc ils doivent être continués. Les gens doivent continuer de s'isoler, de garder leur distance pour qu'on puisse réellement empêcher la propagation de la COVID-19. Et nous allons devoir continuer pendant un bon moment encore de se garder en sécurité pour vraiment voir un déclin dans les cas et dans la courbe. C'est pour ça d'ailleurs qu'on donne tellement d'aide aux familles, aux entreprises, aux communautés, qu'on offre de l'accès au crédit pour ceux qui en ont besoin, pour justement qu'on puisse continuer, malgré les difficultés, à suivre ces conseils, ce qui va nous sortir de cette difficulté plus rapidement et en meilleures conditions.
How exactly are you going to be screening domestic travelers getting on planes and getting on trains? And is it going to be based on the honor system? And if so, there have been cases of Canadians lying so they can continue to travel. How do you prevent that?
We are asking Canadians and telling Canadians that they need to remain home. They must, as much as possible, avoid non-essential travel. This is something that is essential if we are going to get through this together. Obviously, if anyone is exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19, they should not go out. They should stay home. They should not travel. And we are giving further tools to airlines and rail companies to ensure that anyone exhibiting COVID-19 symptoms does not travel. Okay. on l'a dit très, très clairement, les gens doivent rester chez eux, doivent éviter des déplacements non essentiels. Évidemment, encore plus, si quelqu'un a des symptômes de COVID-19, il devrait rester à la maison, il devrait s'isoler, il ne devrait pas voyager pour quelque raison que ce soit, à part d'aller à l'hôpital, évidemment. Mais il y a des façons de le faire sécuritairement. Les gens ne devraient pas être en train de prendre l'avion ou le train s'ils ont des symptômes de la COVID-19. Et donc, on est en train de donner des nouveaux outils pour nos compagnies de transport d'assurer que ces gens-là ne vont pas voyager.
Ian Wood, CTV News. The government has shut its Service Canada offices because it deemed frontline workers there doing face-to-face work with the public was too risky. But we're still asking many Canadians, grocery store workers, bus drivers, nurses, to do this very same risky work. Are we going to do anything more to mitigate the risk these frontline workers face and anything to personally assist them further?
We recognize that as much as possible, services need to be shifted online or onto the telephone. That is why we've moved to close Service Canada offices so that people can access these greater resources online because people will be there to work and respond to them virtually and online, while at the same time creating opportunities to actually support people who do need that extra help. But of course, there are people who have to continue to go out and work. We think of grocery store workers, we think of emergency responders. There are people who are putting themselves at greater risk every day to provide essential services to Canadians. And yes, we need to do everything we can to protect them, but each and every one of us can do things that will protect them as well. Ensuring that we're only going out for groceries maybe once a week. Ensuring that we're cutting down on our movements, that we're not in situations where we're going to have to call on emergency services or essential personnel for any reasons other than absolutely essential reasons. And that means staying safe and staying at home. Yes, there's things that businesses and governments are doing in order to keep frontline workers as safe as possible. But every single Canadian has things that we can do that will reduce the risk for grocery store cashiers or delivery people who are continuing to get food to our doors. These are the things that we all need to be responsible for because people out there doing essential services for us need to be protected. Nous reconnaissons que de ne pas mettre les gens à risque en offrant des services en ligne, c'est une bonne façon d'empêcher les risques à des gens qui peuvent faire le travail de la maison et n'ont pas besoin de le faire face à face. Mais nous comprenons aussi qu'il y a des travailleurs qui vont devoir continuer à travailler dans nos magasins, dans nos épiceries, d'être là pour répondre aux urgences. Et oui, le gouvernement et les compagnies sont en train de prendre des mesures pour rendre ces gens-là leur travail plus sécure et plus en sécurité, mais nous pouvons tous, en tant que citoyens, en tant que consommateurs, faire des choses qui vont amoindrir les risques pour ces gens-là. Que ce soit de seulement faire ses emplettes une fois par semaine ou d'éviter à avoir appel à des services d'urgence si c'est possible, en pas avoir des comportements à risque. Il y a plein de choses que nous pouvons et devons faire pour protéger ceux qui sont là pour nous aider de façon essentielle dans ces moments difficiles. Et j'encourage tout le monde à réfléchir comment ils peuvent faire pour permettre ceux qui font ce travail essentiel de rester en santé.
And Prime Minister, the first of the month is coming up, and many Canadians are going to have to pay their rent. And while the $2,000 a month is a good start, it doesn't roll out until after that. And then thereafter, it might not be enough to cover the rent of many people across this country. So what are you hoping will happen, or what are you hoping can happen for those who can't make rent, considering that you have worked with the banks to help people defer mortgages. What about renters?
We're very much looking at different things we can do. At the federal level, we are limited in our tools. Much of protections for renters and relationship between renters and landlords are provincial areas of jurisdiction, but we are, of course, continuing to work with the provinces on ways we can do that. Access to credit through banks will be helpful as well, as we recognize people are using their credit cards for more and more things, and those balances are piling up, and they are really concerned about things. At the same time, we can point not just to the Canada Emergency Response Benefit, but things like the Canada Housing Benefit, which will be coming out in Ontario in the month of April, will help vulnerable people be able to pay their rents. There are many different methods that we're trying and looking at in order to support Canadians through this difficult time. I recognize the anxiety with the beginning of the month coming, and we're looking at ways we can help people get through that.
Brian Mullen at Global News. Prime Minister, wanted to ask you for an update on your wife, Sophie. How has she been cleared by doctors, and how is she doing?
Sophie is feeling great. My family is doing well. My kids and myself, we're all doing well. We continue to follow the direct advice of health professionals on what next steps are. But like I said, we've asked people to stay at home and work from home as much as possible, not go out if they don't have to, and that certainly is something that we're doing and encouraging everyone to do.